I keep the temperature in my house at 78 degrees upstairs in the summer, and some people think that that is to save money. Well, let me explain. I'm Justin Hitt from Sustainable Wealth Secrets. The temperature in my house is 78 degrees upstairs because that is the recommended temperature for maximum efficiency of my HVAC system, and it's part of the Energy Star recommendations. And it is 78 degrees upstairs, and that's a little warm for a guy like myself, but downstairs it's about 60. But a lot of people say, hey, look, are you trying to save money? Because nearly every tenant I've had has put their temperature at like 72 or 70 and then complain that their system can't keep up. And they're doing it to be comfortable and then freak out when they have $500 electric bills. Well, my electric bill is about $100, and while it is a little warm upstairs at times, at 78 degrees, it is not uncomfortable. And let me just share the benefits. First off, I keep the temperature at 78 degrees, even though I have a computer-controlled thermostat, because 78 degrees is recommended for maximum efficiency. Are you setting expectations based on what someone else thinks is important? Or are you setting those expectations based on what helps you maintain maximum efficiency? Number two, next point is that I do save money keeping the temperature at 78 degrees because I'm lowering the wear and tear on the equipment as well as cycling the air in such a way that I actually get the cool air from downstairs moved up so the system doesn't have to work as hard. If I really want to be cooler, I would go downstairs because it's like 67 degrees downstairs. Instead of complaining about how things are you making the best of situations? It's 78 degrees upstairs. It's 85 degrees outside. If it's 60 degrees or 70 degrees inside, then I go outside. All I've got is complaints. I hear it all the time. I'm in the store, people complaining about how hot it is and everything. But I'm driving around with the air conditioner on low in the car. I'm driving around with the air conditioner in the house. I'm actually at 78 degrees in the house. I go outside. 85 degrees is not that big of a deal. My body has acclimated to the temperature. Now, I got this from friends who grew up in countries that didn't have air conditioning. It turns out you can open up your windows, and if you have the right shading, if you have the right design, you can get a cross flow of air that pulls up 70-degree air from your basement, which if most of your basement's underground, you've got reduced air. But even if you're living in an apartment building, you can pull the cool air out of the stairwells and corridors and ultimately have a level of comfort that tends to be between 75 degrees and 78, maybe 79 degrees. My point being is that are the normals, the expectations that you have based on what you might like, but not relevant to get you to where you really need? And also, is it that important for the temperature upstairs in your house to be a certain degree? Like, so for example, if I'm not even home, 78 degrees in my house is not a big deal. Nobody cares. Even if it was 80 degrees in the house, nobody cares. It's a relevant and easy temperature. My sunroom is probably about 90 degrees. My attic is probably 110 degrees, but the rest of the house is relatively comfortable for the temperature in which it can maintain at lowest cost. Now, I do save money, don't get me wrong, but I'm not setting the temperature to be cheap. I'm setting the temperature to gain maximum efficiency. Now, when I do save money, a $100 or $200 electric bill versus a $500 electric bill, I actually can take the extra money and invest it in something else. So I don't have to be home because I've invested in going to the pool or a country club membership. I can, if I want to, I see, this is what I don't understand. It blows my mind. A tenant will complain that the house won't maintain a 72-degree temperature when it's 85 or 90 degrees out. And they'll tell me this while they're outside in the 90-degree temperature. And they're doing stuff outside. They're playing with the dog. They're getting in and out of the car. And they say, oh, hey, landlord, there's something wrong with the HVAC system. It won't keep it cool enough in the house. Well, you're not in the house. So what does it matter what the temperature is in the house if you're not in the house? And let's find that happy medium. What is the system designed to maintain at the best efficiency? Well, it's 75 to 78 degrees. What does the government recommend as far as energy savings? Because, a lot of people will tell you we need to save the environment, and then they'll put their thermostat on 70 degrees and burn a lot of extra energy and make their equipment work overtime in order to get to that temperature. So it's a mindset, it's an adjustment. It's about getting the facts of the situation so that you know what is relevant as far as your decision. I don't even think about the temperature in my home. If I want to be cooler, I work downstairs in the basement office. If I want to be warmer, I go outside. If I want to go to the pool or play tennis, I'll go outside. And when you go outside at 85 and 90 degree temperature, when you come back into 78, it's pretty comfortable. See, these are what's called first world problems. These are the first world problems that distract you from wealth. Now, again, you could keep it high temperature in the house because you're a cheap bastard. But you could also look for maximum efficiency to make the best application of time, resources, and money in order to gain a level of comfort that can be maintained. When my tenants run a system at 70 degrees, when it's 90 degrees outside, they burn out the HVAC system. And that's why I've got an electronic remote on all of the thermostats for rental properties. I've scaled down to one rental property right now, but I can go check to see when they call me and say, I got a problem with the thermostat, I don't know what's going on. I can see that they took that fancy computer-based system and they put it on permanent hold, and the permanent hold says 70 degrees. Well, it's 95 degrees outside. You won't be able to maintain 70 degrees inside. I could put 3-foot thick insulation on the building all the way around, and it would be difficult to maintain because you're standing there with your door open telling me how the thermostat isn't keeping up or how the temperature isn't where it needs to be. And then worse, because I'm the analytical type, I'll go in there with a thermal temperature gauge. So they'll say, hey, the thermostat says 78 degrees, and I want it to be 70 degrees. And I say, great, it's 50 degree air coming out of the register. The room temperature here is 68 degrees. The temperature at the thermostat is 78 degrees. Well, how about we set the thermostat at 78 degrees, and then the rest of the house will not need as much energy and not need as much resources in order to warm up. A lot of times they'll tell me, well, at their house, they used to be like this, and this other house they stayed at, they didn't have a problem. The truth of it is they're burning up a lot of time that could be resolved by simply looking at the devices you have. If you have a company that does 1,000 units of product a month, you can't take it to 10,000 units a month magically overnight. You've got to find out what is the threshold of production in which your system can do without falling apart. Okay, because we got to switch this back to wealth building. Okay, we got to switch it back to the everyday activities. Where do you need to set the thermostat as the normal activity that can be sustained without having to hire additional staff, without burning your people out, without having a situation where you run out of cash flow? So, free positive cash flow is more valuable than money in the bank, because you've got to in a business, you got to replenish the money. So if you have zero free net cash flow, it doesn't matter how much you have in the bank. It'll eventually all go away. So what's the thermostat? Where does it need to be? What level of free net cash flow can you achieve every day doing the necessary things to keep the business running? Okay, once you have that, what is the free net cash flow you can reach when you make adjustments? See, it's a tuning, it's an optimization, it's running your system at an optimal level that can be maintained. So in the rental property that I have left over here, it happens to be next to my home primary residence. It has allowed me to tear up the driveway over there, for example, to do some repairs and maintenance behind the property. It's allowed me tax deductions. It's helped me cover shared expenses. It's done a lot of things. So ultimately, it's an asset that cash flows while reducing my cost. Is it going to be top of the line and perfect? And no, it's going to be updated a little bit at a time. As I have free net cash flow from the rental of the property, I can then improve insulation, for example. Actually, it's got a brand new HVAC system in it. That was the first upgrade because there was an oil furnace before and we got rid of that thing. But my point being, what are the numbers? What are the key performance indicators that you can maintain forever? That put minimal wear and tear on the system that creates the numbers. And then where do you go from there? Do you go up 10%? Because if your expectation is to go up 100%, it's not going to work out. If your expectation is to be exactly on this other number that you just pulled out your ass, then you'll be constantly frustrated and you'll waste a lot of time and resources being frustrated, complaining, worrying about why this isn't this. Oh, and it used to be this way. The economy used to be great. I used to make X money. Well, what money can you make in this economy? And what factors contribute to that? What factors can we stress? What factors can we not? Where is the unutilized capacity? And see, when I go in and optimize a business with a client, I'm looking at, well, how many customers can you serve? A lot of times they want a new marketing campaign and because they want more customers. Great. How many customers do you have today? I don't know. How many customers could you serve at full capacity? I don't know. Well, you need to know these things because getting you new customers and not knowing these things is going to cause more problems than it's worth. Can you see what I'm showing you here? Can you see how sustainable wealth is something that you can not only build, but you can build upon? It is like building your home on a foundation of stone rather than by the beach in the sand. It is constructing wealth that cannot be taken away. Wealth that is yours for now and for generations to come, built on assets that cash flow. And again, cash flow means an increase in revenue and a decrease in expenses. And it also means that you're pushing forward with the proper utilization so that you don't get in a situation where you have unrealistic expectations that can draw out the system. So in the HVAC example, if you're running the HVAC system too cold, you wear out the hardware components and then it won't run at all. If you run it at recommendations or optimal position, you can always increase the airflow and do other things to cool the house. But if you run it at an optimal position, you're more likely for the device to be able to run indefinitely than for you to run it way below or way above. Anyway, folks, if you have questions about this or anything else, I'm Justin Hitt with Sustainable Wealth Secrets. And this talk has been about knowing your optimal numbers. Knowing what your numbers should be, not comparing your numbers to somebody else, not comparing your numbers to what it used to be, what it is today based on the contributing factors. What can you maintain? What can you sustain? What can you drive forward? And it's also about measuring what matters. Free net cash flow. That's more valuable than the money in the bank. Just like your comfort level is more valuable than the number on a thermostat. I'm warm a little bit, but I wear shorts and a t-shirt around the house anyway. So I'm actually comfortable. And if I'm going outside, it's hot anyway outside. So I'm just going to get sweaty. But when you come back in, it feels great. And if I really want it to be cool and cold, I just go down in the basement. That's the way it works. Ultimately, it seems like common sense. But when it comes to building wealth, most of this is not common sense because the majority of the people are not wealthy. Anyway, if you've got questions, comments, or even success stories, visit me at www.sustainablewealthsecrets. Thanks for listening.